He has all the pieces you need to be a contender at the CrossFit Games. And 2021 could be the year he puts them all together. We go outside the box with Chandler Smith next. Hi everybody, I'm Sean Woodland and welcome to Outside the Box, our new segment where we take a closer look at an athlete or personality inside the CrossFit Games space. Today we focus on two-time CrossFit Games athlete Chandler Smith. Smith exploded onto the Games scene in 2016 when he took 9th at the Atlantic Regional. He would qualify for the Games for the first time in his career in 2019, 3 years ahead of the goal that he had set for himself. He took 15th overall, and then in 2020, he finishes 6th. Now, of course, finishing 6th at the Games was bittersweet for Chandler Smith. On one hand, it was his career best finish, but on the other, it meant that he was one spot away from making it to stage 2 of the CrossFit Games that were held in Northern California. This year, Smith can focus on his training full time, and the former Army captain has one objective: erase the disappointment of 2020.
We got 100 minutes until I know if I made it or not. And he was like, man, like what a privilege to be able to feel this stressed about something like this. Like there's a lot of folks who wish they were stressed for 100 minutes, but they aren't in that position. So I'm just happy I get the chance to feel it out.
Here are your final standings in the 5 men who will be going to the CrossFit Games Part 2 here in Aroma. So the question was, did Quan and Adler,
I think Adler might have jumped me.
do enough? Quan and Adler do enough, and Chandler Smith is just 2 points back.
Stuff happens, y'all.
Will be here in Aroma, and your heart breaks for Chandler Smith.
364 days till next year's hockey tryouts.
Just this great effort, and it was a great environment.
Live in the moment right now.
Yeah.
You made it, man. That was beautiful.
The work I put in meant that within the circumstances of stage 1, I was able to call myself the 6th-fittest, and that's something to be proud of. But if I would have done the work to be the 5th-fittest, then I would have earned that as well. So I'm simultaneously happy and accepting of the results that I got, but also disappointed because I feel like there's more that I could have done, and that's kind of the negative. So immediately just tried to shift the focus and like, how can I turn this into something that's going to help me going forwards?
Take note, people of the internet, this is a new trend where you flip your regular glasses up, like sunglasses. It's like when you're business casual, but you still want to stun on folks, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, hey, you guys might be the top 5, but like, I could have been there if I was better. You know what I mean? Like, it's that type of stuff.
I can see a little better.
Yeah, exactly. You know what it is. Like, yeah.
So I got to be involved in stage 2 of the CrossFit Games as a demo team athlete.
3, 2, 1, go. You're gonna run that way, and you're gonna see orange cones. Yeah, that one. The top, that's Mountain Lion Peak. That's where we saw the mountain lion.
We did a lot of the workouts to test like the blocking, the presentation for the broadcast side of the house. It ended up being a really challenging experience because I had aggressively gotten out of shape since stage 1 of the games, but it was a really beneficial one. Really see like the professionalism of how much work goes into making the CrossFit Games run.
And you'll hear the big beep just like.
This whole weekend is a wild ride on Dave's Games. It's like a, sorry, I spilled all over the camera. It's like a TV show, but without entertainment. The host is colorless and evil, and that's kind of what we've got.
So going into the 2021 season, I've made quite a few changes. I think the most significant one is paying attention to the recovery side of the house. Additionally, going forwards, as I get out of the Army within the next month, I'll have a little bit more time to be selfish. I think this year, yeah, it's a lot more ups and downs because there's pressure now. I'm very singularly focused on this and without any outside distractions in the form of having a normal Army job. Hopefully that's the type of difference that maybe keeps me from missing out by a couple points on the next stage or a similar type of event next year.
Really looking forward to seeing Chandler Smith compete in 2021. Joining me now is Chandler's good friend and sometimes training partner, the 4th fittest man on earth, Noah Olson.
My pleasure. Happy to be here, Sean. I'm doing quite well.
What was it like for you to be able to advance to stage 2 of the CrossFit Games? That obviously had to be a big moment for you, but then at the same time, you see Chandler get so close, but yet not be able to go.
Yeah, that was incredibly bittersweet. Almost more bitter than it was sweet. Obviously, I was excited for myself that I was able to lock in one of those top 5 spots, but I was pretty crushed that, number one, selfishly, I didn't get to go experience that with Chandler. And then for him as a friend, just to see him get so close and not quite make it was really tough, especially because in that moment, we had all thought he'd done it. We did the entire weekend together and we felt like he crushed the last workout, and everybody in the room was 100% sure that he had made it. And so there was this excitement around the announcement, and then the energy in the room fell flat when we realized that he hadn't made it, and that was a pretty tough moment to deal with.
You two are obviously pretty close. How did your friendship develop?
Man, Chandler and I got to compete together for the first time at regionals, the Southeast region, or I guess at that point it was the Atlantic Super Region. Back in 2016, I think that was Chandler's first and only regional appearance. And he sure did make a statement there. He just had a bold personality, from wearing shades out onto the competition floor to crushing workouts. He and I kind of connected on the floor. He had a tough time with one of the workouts, and I was able to kind of console him there in a moment. And I feel like that was the beginning of our bond. We were able to connect shortly after that. He came and visited me in Miami, and we were kind of instant best friends and have been ever since.
Why do you think it is that the two of you get along so well?
I think that obviously we have the similar goal of trying to be the fittest man on earth, so that's beneficial, but there are a lot of other guys in our space that have that same goal and don't have the kind of friendship that I have with Chandler. So I think we just have similar personalities. I think we both care a lot about the sport, but we also care a lot about people and just kind of being good humans and good friends. So there's a lot of stuff that we connected on right away, and we're still growing together and trying to be better athletes and better humans.
What is it like training with him when you get the chance to actually do that?
It's been an interesting progression with Chandler and his mindset. When we first started training together, he was incredibly self-deprecating. And I don't know if it was a defense mechanism where he was kind of setting himself up just in case he didn't do well. He said at the beginning, hey, this is not a good workout for me, but everything that we would do, he would say, oh, don't beat me too bad, or you're gonna crush me on this. And over the years, I've seen him kind of grow in that. And the big turnaround for me was when we got to train together before the 2019 games. He came down and we did a prep camp here in Miami for a full weekend. And we were neck and neck the entire time, trading workouts. I'd win one, he'd win one. He'd smoke me on one, I'd smoke him on one. We'd be within seconds of each other on another one. So it's cool to see that he has a little bit more confidence now, and that shows out on the competition floor.
When you look at him as purely an athlete and where his fitness is right now, where do you think he needs to improve to take that next step?
He's obviously a freak athlete. You know, he's incredibly strong, incredibly athletic, incredibly fast. His whole family has a history in sport. I think that for a while it was just kind of adapting to the skills of CrossFit. Now that he's got most of those down, there's not a whole lot that he has to refine. I think it's just putting all the pieces together. He's got the fitness, he's got the strength. I think the skills are maybe the one thing that just need that final push there, but mark my words, Chandler Smith could absolutely be the fittest man on earth at some point.
That goes directly into my next question that I wanted to ask you is, where is his ceiling and how quickly can he get there?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because I think a lot of people, myself included, still view Chandler as very young. And I think because he had set this goal for himself that he wanted to qualify for the CrossFit Games by the year 2022. So that would have been next year's games, but he's already going into what will be hopefully his third year of being a CrossFit Games athlete before he even hits that goal of his. So I think because of that late start, I assumed that he was still in his young 20s, like early 20s. He's 27, if I'm not mistaken, coming up on 28. So time is not necessarily on his side anymore. So I think if he's going to do it, he's got to do it in the next few years. It seems like the 30-year-old mark used to be kind of the cap on top level individual athletes. I'm going to be 30 this year, and I don't feel like I've hit my ceiling yet. So hopefully for both of us, we can go into our early, maybe mid 30s being highly competitive. But man, I think if he can get those little last missing pieces and finishing touches, he could potentially be untouchable.
Noah, thank you so much for taking the time to do this, and we hope to see both you and Chandler competing at the games in Madison this year.
I hope so too.
Thank you so much, Noah, and it is very likely that Noah Ohlsen and Chandler Smith at some point in this season will be competing head-to-head. The Worldwide Open gets going on March 11th. If you haven't registered yet, there is still time. Head to games.crossfit.com to throw your hat into the ring and be part of all the fun. That is it for this opening edition of Outside the Box. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland, and we'll see you next time.